everyone, welcome to a very, very informal Cook with Brooke. Today I thought that I would invite you into my little test kitchen, if you will. I'm trying out a recipe, and if it works out great, it would be a nice addition to your Thanksgiving menu. So I've been thinking about oyster dressing or oyster stuffing lately, and I kind of wanted to bring that to our menu this year. And although no one in the family, the kids or Sean, would be happy if I got rid of anything that I always serve every single year, so I have to serve that, but I want to do this in addition to. So I started thinking, oyster dressing, that'd be good, but what if I upped it just a couple notches and I made an oyster bread pudding? So then I started thinking, what if I do like a little Oysters Rockefeller-ish bread pudding? So that's what I'm going to do. So I just thought that I'd bring you all along. So one thing I do when I'm writing a recipe or testing it is I have this journal. And I write them down, and I wrote down what I think this recipe will entail. I did research on bread puddings and oyster stuffings and just kind of like my own little thoughts on what I want to do. But I have a lot of recipes that I wrote in here. Potato leek soup, tomato bacon jam, green bubble tea, whatever. I mean, I've got them in here. So I might make notes as I go to see if I'm on par or if it doesn't look right once I start mixing it. So anyway, let's get started. So what I have done already is I have toasted the bread cubes. So they are right here on standby. But with every bread pudding, it starts with a custard. So I have 4 extra large fresh eggs here that I'm going to add. And then I have down that I need about 1.5 cups of heavy cream. So let me just measure that out and shake the cream everywhere. But let me get out 1.5 cups here. Let's see. All right, that's 1.5 cups. I'm going to add it. There. Now I'm just going to whisk it together to get it going. So one thing, just to kind of keep things easy, is I'm using, for the spinach, I'm using just chopped frozen spinach that I've thawed out, and I have pressed all of the water out. So this is it. I did it yesterday, put it back in the fridge. So I'm going to add that to my eggs and cream. Stir it around, make sure it's really, really incorporated. And then for the herbs, I'm going to put in some parsley. So I think I'm going to start with 1/2 cup. I think 1/2 cup is good. So I chopped up 1/2 cup of parsley. I'm sticking that in there. I'm going to stick in, this is tarragon. I love tarragon, with any meats, but especially seafood. I think it's delicious. This is fresh and it's potent. So I have about a heaping tablespoon here. I'm going to try that. It smells so good. It has like a little licorice flavor and smell to it. It's divine. So mix that in. And then I also have, these are scallions. And this is 1/2 cup, a heaping 1/2 cup really. And I used about 4 scallions, green parts and into the white parts. So then just mix that in. So now the most important part is for let me clean up here just a little bit, but now it's for the oysters. So we need to get them in. And so what I'm going to do is, these are the oysters. I always go, if you're local, I always go to Four Maples Fish. They have the freshest seafood ever. And the guy there, he always shucks them for me. So I asked him to shuck them. This is 2 dozen. And I asked him to reserve the liquor. So what I'm going to do, let me just put this down so y'all can see what I'm doing. I put this sieve on top of a measuring cup. What I need is, I need another cup of liquid. And so I'm going to pour the oysters into the strainer. I guess you can call it a strainer too. And reserve this liquid. And whatever liquid, if I don't have a cup of this liquor, I'm going to make it up in chicken stock. So I can't even see. Let me see. It looks like I've got about 1/3 of a cup. So anyway, I just use this chicken broth. Oh, well, I have to open it all the way. How about that? Okay. So I'm just going to bring it up to a cup. Just like that. And I'm going to pour it. I can move this out of my way. I don't have much space. I'm so sorry, but I'm trying to show y'all. Okay, so I'm just going to mix this in. And there you go. Because what you do is this liquid, the custard, the bread cubes are going to soak it up. So you need to have a little bit more than you would think of the wet ingredients. So let me move this. Come back in screen and stir. I'm looking for my favorite rubber spatula. Of course I can't find it, so I'll just use this one, purple. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is and there's even some more little liquor in here, so I don't want anything to go to waste. I'm going to fold in these oysters. So they're pretty delicate, so you just want to, doesn't look like there's a lot. These are kind of smaller. I think Gulf oysters would be best for this because they're larger, and these might get a little bit lost in there. Maybe I should make note that I should have maybe 3 dozen, but I'm going to make note of that right now. I should do 3 dozen. But we're also going for flavor. And then I'm going to stick in, this is Gruyere cheese. I shredded it. I'm going to stick in about a cup or so, and then I'm going to reserve the rest for the top. So that's good. Stir this in. So yeah, definitely need 3 dozen oysters because I don't know that it might get lost, but we're testing, and like I said, this is kind of an informal thing, but we're going for flavor, and if I'm on the right track, then I know I can adjust. So now I'm going to stick in, this is, I just used some sandwich buns or rolls that I cut into 1/2-inch cubes, and this is 6 cups. So I'm going to pour those in, and I just put them in the oven for about 15 minutes on a 350-degree oven. Oh, and by the way, it's preheating to 350 degrees. So just kind of fold these in. Make sure it's all incorporated, because these wonderful dry breadcrumbs are going to soak up all this good deliciousness. I think this is going to be really good, though. It smells really good. Okay, one thing I'm thinking that I haven't done yet, I need to add some salt and pepper. So I'm gonna add, now the oysters are gonna bring a lot of salt because they've grown in salt water. But so that's probably a good pinch plus more for good measure. A little black pepper. I don't know. I'm just looking at it. Whatever you like. Okay. So I have it written down, salt and pepper to taste. So however much you like. Okay. Oh, this looks good. Okay. All right, I think I'm done. And what I'm going to do is I've got a 13 by 9-inch pan right here. Little casserole pan. And I'm going to pour this in. God, it does look really good. I might be onto something here, guys. I don't know. We'll see. But like I said, I would recommend, if you can get your hands on Gulf oysters, use those because they're big. Or just ask for bigger oysters. I think these are Blue Points, but that's all that they had. Blue Points come from the Northeast, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I think so. Okay, so just kind of spread this out in here. And then I'm going to top with this Gruyere cheese. Oh God, this is going to be good. I gotta admit. Okay. Oops. Dog will get that. I don't have to worry about it. She's right under my feet anyway. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this in the oven for 45 to 50 minutes. That's what most bread puddings, that's how much time they usually recommend, and so I'm going to go for that. I'm going to stick it right on the top. And I'll be back here in 45 minutes. Okay, it has been 45 minutes and the bread pudding is done. I did check it at 30 minutes and it still needed a little bit more time, so I've got it done and it looks really, really good. It smells really good in here, so I wish you could smell it. And I've always wanted to say that because they always say that on TV. I wish they had smell-o-vision. Okay, let's dig into this Oysters Rockefeller bread pudding. I'm going to cut a little side piece. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Feast your eyes on that. Nice little string. Let's see how it tastes. I'll take a little bite. I want to make sure I get an oyster. There's one right there. Yeah. Oh, God. Mm-hmm. It's good. It's really, really good. The brininess of the oyster, the spinach with the Gruyere cheese, parsley. Let's try this bread. And the bread soaked up all that goodness. This is a must-make recipe. I'm going to publish this. It worked out great. So my notes here, if you are not able to get Gulf shrimp are big. They're, you know, anywhere from 1.5 inches to 2 inches. They're big shrimp, oysters. So if you can't get Gulf oysters, and you are stuck with like a Blue Point, first of all oysters are good, but if you have a smaller oyster, use 3 dozen. If you can get a Gulf oyster, use 2 dozen. Other than that, that's my only cooking note. I'll make that note in my recipe and look for this to be on your Thanksgiving table or any other table, menu, whatever. It's so good. I love it. So thanks for cooking with Brooke and enjoy this Oysters Rockefeller bread pudding. Delicious.